This is Gratz's Sports Break.
I don't believe what I just saw.
The Sports Break brought to you by the Kunsan Recreation Complex. Whether you want to do-it-yourself class or how about renting the outdoor equipment for your perfect summer getaway, call them at 782-4833 to plan your trip today. Joined in the studio by the one and only Trevor Pedro.
I'm pretty excited, man. The sports world this week has been amazing.
It has been, and the entire week. Happy Friday the 13th, by the way. Kind of spooky. You feeling it?
You're freaking me out.
A little bit. Freaky stuff if you're a Spurs fan. I don't want to bury the lead too much, but you mentioned the week, and we only get to do this once a week. A week's a long time in the sports world.
It's a shame because there's a lot of stuff going on, especially now, this time of year.
We'll get to some of the big headlines here in a second, but I thought I would recap kind of the week that was with a new segment called, well, The Week That Was.
7 years ago.
Bruh. Ain't nobody got time for that.
No one, right? And here's the thing, look, I could start with the Thunder closing out the Spurs or maybe even the Stanley Cup playoffs, but I got to begin with Steph Curry. I mean, he's redefining basketball, elevating his game to levels higher than Lermy Tunsil gets on Instagram ripping his bong, right? Back-to-back MVPs, and after not playing for 2 weeks, Curry decides to drop 40 in Game 4, 17 coming in overtime.
Screen by Draymond. Curry with another three. Got it! Curry!
He's back. He's back.
Oh, boys! I'm back!
Unbelievable stuff from Steph Curry. If anything, this is a scary movie that's been on repeat for the rest of the NBA all season. Steph Curry constantly hitting 30-footers is getting obnoxious. Almost as obnoxious as ESPN when they cover competitive video games, or as they like to call it, esports. Instead of covering 16-year-old kids that don't see the sun for weeks at a time and reek like Hot Pockets and Red Bull, how about covering hockey? Those are linebackers on ice. Esports is so fetch.
That is so fetch. Stop trying to make fetch happen. It's not going to happen.
Stop trying to make esports happen, ESPN. It's so not going to happen. The day I get into esports is the day that Bartolo Colon hits a... Oh, wait. That did happen. In case you missed it, 42-year-old Bartolo Colon put down the moon pies long enough to hit a moonshot last week. First home run of his career at the young age of 42. And then decided to do his best sloth impression as he rounded the bases. Forget the Kentucky Derby. That was the greatest 2 minutes in sports. Who do you think walks more? Bartolo Colon in a year or Bryce Harper playing the Cubs? Harper got walked 6 times in one game last week.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for him.
And they still lost. Maybe they should get Cologne to bat cleanup for the Nationals. I mean, at this point, they might be better taking the automatic out instead of leaving the runners and their fan base stranded. And that was the week that was. Your thoughts?
That Harper thing is absolutely insane, but my must-see moment of this past week was that Cologne home run. That was insane. 42 years old, guy's got to be like 300 pounds. I don't even know if he can swing a bat. It was crazy, and also he opened the floodgates because Noah Syndergaard hit 2 jacks last night.
Yes.
Man. Like, not even just barely over the wall.
No.
Jacks. Crushed him. One was like 396.
Spurs fans, cover your ears because this one's going to be rough. We finally got to put this one to bed. Is this the end of the Spurs era in your mind?
I think it's just the start of a new era, but I think the big three are pretty much done. Tony Parker looked like toast out there. Manu was getting blocked by everybody.
Yeah.
Timmy, I think he only scored 14 points in the last 3 games of the series.
113-99, the final score. The Thunder take out the San Antonio Spurs. And if you're the Thunder, I mean, a lot of the MOs that come up, they play hero ball at the end. They can't do a lot of stuff. They kind of exercise those demons a little bit.
They finished the last 3 games, and that's the big thing about that team. If they're a scary team, if they're learning to finish the way that they're supposed to, that team can beat anybody. I mean, I'm even talking about the Warriors. This past game, the past 3 games, that supporting cast for OKC has really stepped up, and I love the fact that Enes Kanter is in that 4th quarter lineup. He wasn't playing any defense earlier this year. Now he's blocking guys like Aldridge and Leonard. 4 blocks last game. And looking at that bench and that supporting cast, Game 6, they dropped 33 and had 17 boards against the Spurs.
You mentioned the matchup potentially, going into the NBA Finals. They're going to have to get past the defending champs, the Golden State Warriors, who, if you read all the reports coming out this morning, the Golden State Warriors, they want to get back to the NBA Finals so that they can rematch the Cleveland Cavaliers. Now, one of the teams that's going to have to eventually play the Cleveland Cavaliers, the Toronto Raptors or the Miami Heat. Now, look, Miami, they didn't like the views from the 6 when they got there. The Raptor, they took a 3-2 series lead yesterday. Now we're at Game 6 back in South Beach. Who do you got tomorrow?
I think I got the Raptors.
They're
They're the younger team. I don't care. Dwayne Wade is battling father time. It's all good. But if you look at the Raptors, they're just more athletic. They're younger. They got more hops. I don't like the fact they're playing without Valanciunas. If he can make it into the next round and they can get past this Game 6, I love that team even more.
So they win Game 6, right? And they eventually get to that matchup. I mean, the bottom line is, do they have a chance against Cleveland?
I think they have somewhat of a chance, a better chance than anybody else in the East, which isn't saying much. But DeMarre Carroll can get under people's skin, and he battles LeBron every single play. He's probably the only guy in the East that can match up with him. So if he's playing well, they get Valanciunas back. They're going to live and die by Lowry. If Lowry's shooting 4 for 18, no chance.
Yeah.
He's got to drop 20 and have a 10 assists almost every single game.
And if you're the Raptors, their MO this whole time, really, for the past couple seasons, is their 2 biggest stars, DeRozan and Lowry. Can they step up in the postseason? Up until this point, they really haven't. They got past the last round, and now they're going to have to beat the Miami Heat. They still have to close out this series. And then if they were able to do that against the Cleveland Cavaliers, who a lot of people think, to include you and me, they have a free pass to the NBA Finals.
Every year.
Every single year.
Every year. And the thing is, what's scary about this Toronto thing is I see a lot of similarities with them and the old OKC teams when they had Harden and they were winning 50-some-odd games.
Yeah.
They just couldn't put it all together.
As long as they play within themselves, I think that's one of those things they're all going to have to take a step back, and collectively, it's not going to be, Lowry's going to have to be big, DeRozan as well, but they're all the support guys, which, as you saw from the Thunder, when the support guys play well,
They win.
They win. It's that simple. You play good and you win.
Hey, that's simple enough. Simple enough.
You would think. Hey, look, we haven't forgotten about the NHL, the Stanley Cup playoffs, coming up after the break, plus one of the greatest sports movies of all time, Space Jam.
They're monsters. Suffering succotash. They're monsters.
Is making a sequel. Who's it going to be starring? The answer may surprise you. What do you think? Should they be retouching a classic? I know you have your opinions.
Oh, they're coming. I'm going to drop the hammer soon.
We'll get to that right after this. Keep it here on 88.5 The Eagle.
Your sports, your opinions. Call us at 782-8451 and let us know how you feel.
Good morning.
AFN Kunsan The Eagle.
It's the morning show with Brian Gratz.
Serving America's.
Welcome back to the Sports Break, TGIF, Friday the 13th edition. Hey, by the way, Cactors, this segment is brought to you by it, and bringing you to a pro soccer game this weekend, which should be pretty sweet. It's in Jeonju, right? The Gwanbuk Hyundai Motors versus the Gwangju FCs. Swing by Cactors and sign up now.
That sounds like a good time.
Yeah. Who do you got in that epic matchup?
I don't know. If it's anything like baseball, it'll be a great time.
The Hyundai Motors. My money's on the Hyundai Motors. We mentioned before the break we would get to this. I did not want to forget about the NHL and Stanley Cup playoffs. Some of the epic matchups that went down just even a couple days ago. The Penguins beat the Capitals, and it seems like Alex Ovechkin can't catch a break. And if you're Sid the Kid, this is pretty sweet. Here's what the series clinching goal sounded like.
One around in front. Haglander shot. It's over.
Nick Bonino with the series clinching goal in overtime. Pretty big stuff from him.
I was clutching my chest when that happened because the Caps were my boys. The Caps were my boys.
You had them going all the way.
I really did.
My statement still stands from a couple weeks ago. The winner of that series was my pick to win it all. So
I could see it.
I'm on the Pittsburgh train.
Yeah, I could see it.
So that's one of the matchups. One of the other big ones that people have to look forward to. They're going to face the Tampa Bay Lightning in the next round. A lot of people think, the Tampa Bay Lightning, they're on a roll.
Yeah, they're completely on a roll. And if you look at this team, their front line is playing amazing. The front line, the first line for the Lightning, they are dominating Totally. They're scoring 53% of the Lightning's goals, and this series and the strength of that line is just going to be, I think it's going to be too much for Pittsburgh.
That one, by the way, AFN Sports 2 tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. You can check out the Tampa Bay Lightning versus the Pittsburgh Penguins. I'm all aboard the Pittsburgh Penguins train.
I don't know if I'm there yet, because I'll throw a little stat out there for you, okay?
Yeah.
Alex Ovechkin outscored the Penn Superstars 3-1 in that series. Crosby and Malkin got to do something for them to win.
Crosby suddenly a decoy?
He must be. I don't know.
So we still have plenty of NHL action to go. So in the West, St. Louis routs the Stars 6-1 in Dallas for Game 7. So they're going to face the San Jose Sharks, who also won in a rout against the Nashville Predators.
Everybody saw that coming. This is going to be a good matchup. I think one thing to look at, though, is San Jose has the worst home record of the year of any team in the NHL.
That's the thing is they led the NHL with 28 road wins, and they can't do it at home. So I thought Nashville was going to win just by default, and they suddenly did it.
Yeah, so San Jose is going to have to win one on their home ice, and I don't know if that's going to happen with the way that St. Louis is playing. That team is playing cohesive hockey. They're skating fast. Their goalies are playing well. I don't know. It's a crapshoot.
It is definitely a crapshoot. The NHL playoffs, by the way, you can actually check it our Facebook page, facebook.com/AFN Kunsan. This morning, I have posted the schedule that you can enjoy for all the upcoming sports action going on. And in fact, we'll break down that schedule here in just a little bit. We also mentioned before the break, in my estimation, this is top 3 sports movies of all time. This is some gold right here. Space Jam making a sequel, right? They've announced that the new star is, do you have any idea?
Kawhi Leonard.
Kawhi Leonard, you think?
Yeah.
Anthony Davis could be one. Even Steph Curry. None of those guys.
Chris Paul?
LeBron James. Could it be anyone else?
No.
Could it be anyone else? I mean, really, the only problem with this whole thing, how is LeBron going to react when the Monstars are really that good? Is it going to be South Beach all over again?
It's very tough. And this fall, I'm going to take my talents to South Beach and join the Monstars.
That was the conclusion you woke up with this morning.
That was the conclusion I woke up with this morning.
Oh, my goodness.
You know, I'm looking at that now that I find out that. Why could they put him in there? Because he's the ultimate villain, okay? So they can't put him in the Mike role. Mike was likable, okay? Mike was an assassin on the court, but he was likable.
Yeah.
I'm thinking they need to have KD in there because he's got to redeem himself for Thunderstruck.
It's one of those, it's so bad it's good.
Yeah.
Speaking of good, bad, and ugly, that's, I think, the perfect transition into the good, bad, and the ugly here on 88.5.
It's time for good news, bad news, or no news.
So here's how good news, bad news, no news works. We toss 60 seconds on the clock, and then we decide a couple of the big headlines from the week that was, and if it's good news, bad news, or no news. So without further ado, toss it up there, and let's start with Space Jam 2. Good news, bad news, or no news?
Bad news. You can't replace Bill Murray and Wayne Knight and the rest of the crew.
The only way it would be good news is if they added Bill Murray.
Yeah, maybe.
Change gears. Let's hit the MLB for a second. Nationals signed Strasburg to a 7-year, $175 million contract.
No news. That's the Nats money. If they want to waste it, whatever.
Wrap him in bubble wrap. Don't let anyone breathe on him.
One Cy Young, one All-Star team paid more than Felix Hernandez and Cole Hamels. Nope.
What about his teammate Bryce Harper dropping some motherly love on the Mother's Day to the umps?
Make baseball great again.
Let's change gears. I wanted to make sure we hit this one in the NFL. The Raiders. They're on pace apparently to head to Vegas.
I think that's a great idea.
This is horrible.
It's fantastic. You know what? Because the last pro football team they had there was the XFL and Rod Smart.
What's the record for DUIs in a season?
Oh, whole squad, all 53.
There's going to be a new record the second the Las Vegas Raiders take the field.
It's going to happen.
People can barely keep their minds on straight when they're in Vegas and they're not professional athletes.
I just love saying that. The Raiders.
The Raiders. I won't be as good as Berman maybe ever, but
nope.
And on that note, we did want to highlight the schedule for this weekend. AFN Sports. Make sure to tune in. AFN Sports and AFN Sports 2. They have some great stuff. What's the thing you're looking forward to most?
Lightning versus Penguins, Saturday morning, AFN Sports, 9 a.m.
You think?
Get up early and watch some good hockey.
You think you're going to actually wake up that early after a couple Teddy Brewskis?
I'm an old man. I get up at 5:30.
I am very much looking forward to the schedule, but How about this? Showing some love to the WNBA 20th season tip-off. I got to represent Arizona for a second. The Phoenix Mercury at the Minnesota Lynx. Diana Taurasi back in the WNBA. She's back from Mother Russia.
Hey, and she's always got those skills. Great outside jump shot. And you know what? I love it. I love the pick.
Her and Brittany Griner can take the Mercury back to the top. We'll see. And on that note, we are out of here. Thanks for tuning in. Trevor Pedro, thanks for swinging by and hanging out.
As always, good time, brother.
It's always a pleasure talking about sports.
Hold on to your socks. Gratz will be right back in a bit.
Boy, that would have been a lose-lose situation.